You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real. As Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered daily digital show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You can make this possible. Hey, folks, welcome back to Roland Martin Unfiltered, broadcasting from Orlando, Florida, the offices of the Florida Rights Restoration Coalition. 4 years ago, she was elected state's attorney, first African-American state's attorney in Florida. A lot of people were excited by that. Then when she made the decision to say, I am not going to prosecute death penalty cases, man, that ticked off Florida Governor Rick Scott and others. And she was in a constant battle with folks in this state. She chose not to seek re-election, but she is still fighting on behalf of constituents. Aramis Ayala wrote this interesting piece on BET.com where she said black people are, in essence, in a domestic violence relationship with police. And she sent it to me and said, I would love to chat about it. And I said, well, let's do so right here on the show when I come to town. And we're here. So glad to see you here, State's Attorney Ayala. How you doing?
Good. Thanks for having me.
So explain this concept that you lay out, that black folks, we're in this domestic violence relationship with police.
So when I originally ran for office, I ran on a domestic violence platform in Orlando. Like close to 20% of our cases, our homicides are connected to domestic violence. I also ran on a platform to try to bridge some of these gaps between the community and the police. So over the years, I started looking at the dynamic and I looked at the power structure. And when you study domestic violence, you understand that it is a wheel. It is a power and control that starts with the tension building. Then it ends up with the climax. Then it goes to the honeymoon. And then when George Floyd hit, the light went on. I realized that we are constantly battling the harassment. We're constantly battling this fear, this dynamic that we need the police, but we are being harassed and harmed by the police. And then I looked at all the correlations, and there are way too many that we can't even get in today, but some of them have to do with the fear that the victims have. You know, when you look at an encounter that law enforcement has when a person is stopped, even me being stopped in this community, you know, it doesn't matter how much power you have, that the fear and the trepidation that goes on, it doesn't matter what's in your car or what's not. You understand your life is in danger. That's exactly how domestic violence victims feel when they are encountering privately their abuser. Additionally, we look at the dynamic of jealousy. You know, they never want them getting attention. So when the whole Black Lives Matter movement, they were getting the attention, they were getting the dignified, and then guess what happens? Blue Lives Matter. We deal with that. And one of the most profound correlations that I saw was that in domestic violence, everyone thinks the highest of the person. They've got this charismatic personality, and just like law enforcement, they are loved. And privately, like on stops during the street, there's the harassment, there's the abuse, there's this lack of humanity and treatment. But then when they get found out, they act like it's an isolated incident. That's exactly what happens.
The few bad apples.
The few bad apples. We act like it. And we keep having this conversation as if it is isolated. Maybe it might be 10 officers, but if all of those 10 are assigned to the communities, that's 100% of them. So we've got to look at the dynamic of not just how many officers are being affected, but how many members in the black community are being affected.
It's interesting you lay that out there because, again, when folks talk about all of these various officers and as if the community is saying, no, hold up, but that's not our relationship. That's your relationship. And so it's sort of like the person who abuses their wife. Phenomenal at work. Oh, no.
Absolutely.
Jim is great. He's awesome. He's great to get along with. Yeah, but you ain't living with Jim.
You're not living with him, but also in the article I talk about it not just being the individuals, but being a culture. The culture of policing gets us away from finding the good ones and the bad ones, because the culture of policing, when you understand the roots of it and the slave patrols and, you know, going into lynchings and covering those things, and now we're in the era of mass incarceration, we are perpetuating a culture that is dangerous to black people, to all communities of color, poor people, but in particular black people. So when we don't address the culture that begins to dominate, you know, I wrote in the article, there was a research that was done, and 60% of families who, they're law enforcement officers, they are affected in their own individual homes by domestic violence. So 40%, I'm sorry. So you're looking at a large number of people who are working in the culture of law enforcement when they have their own abusive issues in their home, then they go into a culture that perpetuates this power and control, this domineering, instead of the service. Law enforcement is a public service agency that the people should feel served. And if you do any type of analysis, you do polling, I can assure you that black communities do not feel served by the officers who are supposed to be there.
I remember the video when the officer pulled you over. And you were in the car, and someone else was in the car with you, correct?
I taught at FAMU's law school. Coming home that night, I was in the car by myself.
Okay, so you're in the car by yourself. He pulls you over, and you literally like, why are you pulling me over? Knowing full well the law, and he's sitting here being nice, being cordial, but I'm watching and going, is this his reaction because this is a black female? Would that be his reaction if it was a black male? Well, would it be, because we know some examples, folks walking up with their hand on the gun, and then when you begin to ask the questions, and he's sort of trying to give this reason, you're going, really?
None of it is fitting, and I know you bring up the point about black men, but let's not forget Sandra Bland.
Right,
so,
right,
so
absolutely.
Had I had a different attitude,
right.
A natural attitude, I will, versus understanding the danger that I was in, despite the title, despite the degrees, despite the level of power.
Because your title wasn't on the back of your car.
It was not. It was not. However, they ran my tag, and
right.
It is a state-issued vehicle that it comes back to nothing. So it was a blank tag, which is how they justified the stop. There were no traffic violations. The state vehicle has legal tint. There's nothing that had been wrong except where I was driving. I didn't get on the highway from the law school. I went through the area that they patrol extremely highly.
And the point that you made about in terms of how we respond, because remember, every time I break down that Sandra Bland video, I mean, literally, she comes out of the parking lot. He flips the car around, and he's waiting for her to make a mistake.
Right.
He's waiting. Not, you did something. No, I'm going to wait for you to make a mistake. The crazy thing happened, I did my show in Raleigh, North Carolina on Tuesday. And so I drove from D.C. to Raleigh. What was interesting is, so I'm driving, and I see a police officer. I'm on the phone, I'm talking, headset. So see the cop, all right, we slow down. Natural reaction. I see him get in his car, hop out. So I'm like, either he's for me, because I knew I was going about 75. I said, either me or someone else. So let me see what he. So he's coming up. I'm looking in the rearview mirror. All of a sudden, he comes up. He literally pulls up on the side of me. Yeah. Not where I can see him, but so I'm okay. I don't know what he's doing.
What we doing here?
So I slow down. I drop down to 65. I drop down to 60. He's still. I'm like, all right. I'm like, damn, I don't know the speed limit. I dropped to 55. He pulls me over. I have never in my life had a cop pull me over to say, you were going too slow. I said, I'm sorry, I was going too slow? He said, yeah, because typically there are people, they're flying 80, 85, 90 on this freeway, and if someone's going that fast and you're going 55, they can slam into you. I said, no, I was doing 75. He said, but you slow down. I'm like, yeah, I saw you.
Right. And, you know, that's the other thing that I didn't share with you is when people are stopped by law enforcement, it increases not just the possibility of a fatal encounter, but a resisting charge. You know, in Florida, it's not resisting arrest. It's resisting an officer's lawful command. So if he says, get out the car, and you're like, for what? It doesn't matter. Right. You're going to end up with a charge. The moment you say for what,
correct, you now are resisting. And that's what when the officer in Texas told Sandra Bland to get out of the car and she resisted, that's when he was like, the hell with the ticket, I'm putting you under arrest. Because
Absolutely.
He knew.
So I created a diversion program for resisting. We looked at 63% of our standalone diversion cases, meaning those that have no other charge associated with it, were black people, despite in this county us only representing 22.8% of the population. So significantly higher, and that didn't even include, you know, Hispanics, Latino community either. So when you're looking at it, what I did is we're just going to watch a little video and understand the safety of it. We're going to understand that you are in danger, and we're going to eliminate this so people aren't going going through the criminal justice system because they defied a law enforcement officer when no violence was used, no other crime was used other than the fact that they got stopped, especially when the Supreme Court has already said the pretextual stops are legitimate. So pretext stop legitimate. Now I end up with a resisting. That is not justice in anyone's mind. That may be an agenda, but the agenda is not justice.
You chose not to run for re-election. What's next for you?
Let's be clear. I didn't run because I'm scared. I did not run because of any other issue. I'm not interested in killing people with my signature. A lot of people can talk about what somebody deserves to do. I'm not interested in using my signature that the good Lord gave me to justify starting the wheels of death. So that's why I decided not to run. The court said I had to, not into it.
But no, the court said you had to prosecute death penalty cases.
I had to consider killing people. And like I said, you can sit around a table and talk about it, but the day before I became state attorney, that would have been conspiracy to commit murder. Now I get a title, and now it's actually legal, and the Supreme Court says that I have to do it. I'm violating the law. Let's not even open up that can. I understand that it is a issue when it comes to death penalty, but I said what I said. I believe what I believe in, and until you have authority to kill somebody, don't tell me how you would have handled that authority, number one. But you asked what is next. Once you get in this field, once you are pursuing justice, seeing justice roll, seeing the answer to a lot of prayers and cries, and seeing the dreams realized from people from the past who have passed on, you don't stop. So it may not be in this realm. I'll be sure to keep you posted with where it will be.
All right. Well, we certainly look forward to it. Thank you so very much. Congratulations on all the work that you've done, and certainly inspired a whole new generation of folks to see you elected and see you take the stand that you took.
Thanks for what you do, Roland.
I appreciate it. Thanks a bunch.
All right, folks, back to that Roland Martin Unfiltered video in just one moment.
All right, the folks at Ceek.com, black-owned company founded by Mary Spio. They, of course, a virtual reality company. You can check out their content at Ceek.com, Ceek.com. You can do so, of course, with these VR headsets. You can look at it, of course, on your regular device or your pad or your computer. But if you want to experience being in the room, you can use this headset right here. All you simply do is just pop in your cell phone in here, pop it on, and then put this headset on, and you can literally experience their content in virtual reality. And so allows for you to do a 360-degree view of the room. But also, folks, they have the 360-degree 4D headphones right here. These are Bluetooth headphones. They have complete surround sound in terms of as you hear the particular music. Gamers love them as well when they're playing their games. And so it's just phenomenal bass in these headphones as well. You can get one or both devices at Ceek.com using this promo code RMVIP 2020, RMVIP 2020. So we certainly thank the folks at Ceek.com for being a partner with us here at Roland Martin Unfiltered.